Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Slow Flower Show with Deborah Prinzing. I am so delighted today to welcome Tammy Osselaer of Little Petal Farm. And you're in Noblesville, Indiana, right?
Yes, that's right.
Where is that?
So Noblesville is about 40 minutes north of Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, okay. Well, great. So we've been talking about trying to get this scheduled for a while. What really intrigued me is that you have both growing and retail floristry in your portfolio. So describe a little bit about Little Petal Farm and is farm on the name of the retail shop? I think we're going to show
Yes.
photos after in a
Yeah.
little while.
Yeah.
So do
A
people
little,
come in confused?
yeah, a little bit, yes. Because originally when I first started, I started as a flower farmer. So it was
Yes.
retail and I wasn't a florist. So I wanted the Little Petal Farm and I just kind of stayed with it. I haven't changed the name.
Well, it's your brand.
Yes.
So you're coming to us from your retail shop, and talk about what you do in the retail shop, and um, how you serve your community, and then we'll talk about the growing.
Okay. Well, I've had my business now for 4 years. Little Petal Farm, the boutique, and we're full service florist. So we do weddings, events, funerals, same day delivery. We do classes and workshops.
And then in the shop, is it cash and carry, or do people come in and have wait while you are designing pieces?
Yeah, we don't do a lot of pre-made bouquets. We'll have a flower bar set up usually inside, but we usually design as people come in and ask for something, so they're ensured of fresh.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Was there a flower shop in town before you opened, Tammy?
Yes, there's been one in town now, a couple in town now for about 40 years. One of them just recently closed.
But are you trying to differentiate with the
Yes,
fact that you're selling mostly what you grow?
yes, that differentiate and not a wire service. We don't
Yeah.
work with wire service. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, your path is really interesting. And I also think like everybody has a COVID pivot story. So let's hear yours. And
So
then we'll look at some slides of a slideshow of some of the images you shared.
okay, so I graduated from college in exercise physiology. I was a personal trainer for 30 years, and right now where I am at the boutique. So when COVID hit, I was unable to make an income anymore. People weren't able to come in, and I'm a single income family. So I thought, well, I've always kind of grown flowers. Let's just see how I can do just selling flowers to florists and just people stopping by. So it was a lot more to florists the first year. And I like that, but I missed the aspect of the customer relationship. Obviously, being a personal trainer and having those relationships with my clients, I missed that kind of part of it. So then I thought, okay, well, then I'm just going to sell to farmers markets. Still personal training, but I'll just do the market on Saturday. That took off. And then I thought, well, I'll just turn the front quarter of my personal training studio into a boutique, a florist. I'll have the personal training in the back side of it. And then this has taken off. So now Little Petal Farm is about 95% of my business, and then personal training is now only about 5%. I've
Oh,
here
how
kind of reinvented, and I really enjoy doing this because I did the other for so long.
yeah. So the space you're in was a training studio. It
So
just happened to be on like the main street in Noblesville.
Yep.
How convenient was that?
So it's a double purpose now. It's a double purpose as a personal training studio and a florist. So we give people beauty with flowers, and we help their heart and health with exercise.
That's a great tagline. I love that seemed to happen kind of organically in that the farmers market showed you that there was a demand for um, your customer base that wanted to know that you grew the flowers. And then that kind of translated over to a full service retail flower shop.
Yes.
Wow. When did that actually that transition happen? When did you actually go full on in the studio?
So the first year was just that COVID time. So that was just pickups at home and florists. The second year I did the farmers market only. And then the third year I opened the boutique. So this is actually kind of, I think, close to my second year of
Oh,
having.
your second Mother's Day at
This. Oh
at
my
the
God.
shop. Second and Valentine's Day. We've got a photo of that.
Yeah.
Well,
Unfortunately for us, like I was just telling you, Mother's Day weekend is also prom weekend for us. So it's crazy.
yeah, it's very crazy. Well, let's just talk also a little bit about the farm. Where is the farm and What are you able to grow in whatever zone you're in? I'm guessing it's probably zone 6 or
I'm a,
7.
yeah, I'm a 6A. Obviously, like everybody, we just shifted. So I'm an urban farm. So I grow on my at my house, and I have about an acre there that I grow on, and then I have another piece of property that a friend lets me use, and we grow another acre on that land too.
Wow, that's a lot.
Mhm.
And I know peonies are a specialty because Indiana is known for peonies, and your peony festival is coming up. What is your earliest crop of the season? Is it
Uh,
bulbs?
yes, that would be, yeah. Our daffodils and that type of thing is our first to grow. We have some spring blooming woodies that grow first too, but obviously
Yeah,
daffodils first.
yeah. And Tammy, are you all field grown or do you have any structures on your property?
We have two greenhouses, mini ones, that we do use, and this is only my second season with them, but we do have two. We really
Does
like
that
them.
help with season extension or is it
Oh
just
yeah,
you?
yeah.
Okay.
It gets us flowers earlier.
Well, I'd love to put up the slideshow of the photos you shared, and then maybe you can just narrate them a
Okay.
little bit. I just think I mean, we talked about doing a video, but you told me that everything was harvested because of Mother's Day. So I get that. People can watch your Instagram account and get a little bit better introduction to you. But here is a wonderful little slideshow, and of course, this maybe was from your farmers market days.
Exactly. I try to put a big basket in the middle of the table and really bulk up that big basket with lots of flowers to help pull customers in on that display.
But sometimes when you do that, people wanna buy your display, as just happened with what's behind you, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's a big compliment. Okay, so here's this a cute shop, storefront. This must have been from last year's Peony
That's
Festival.
festival. The town always has a window contest, usually for the big holidays around here, Christmas and whatever. So we always enter those town contests
Mm,
for the window displays.
mm, mm. Your logo is a little ankle-high work boot with, flowers coming out of it. People can kind of see it on the storefront there. Talk about how that came about.
My son designed that for me, actually. So it's
Very
very
cute.
special to me. He's now adult, but he designed that. I asked him to. He kind of grunted a little bit, but he did it for me, and everybody loves it. He just
Did
freaking did it and just came up with it.
So it was his idea to do the boot, or had you give him a little bit of direction?
Nope, he did the whole thing. He came up with all of it. I just said, give me a logo.
Wonderful. I love it. What's his name?
Zachary.
Tell Zachary we like his art. That's
I,
great. Here you are designing, and one of your gorgeous designs. Can you just talk a little bit about what we're seeing here?
we were working on, I think that was Valentine or Mother's Day. Kind of, it was we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, arrangements, what we were going to offer. That was just kind of us just kind of working with arrangements and deciding what flowers we were going to use.
And that's the photo of you on the right.
Mm-hmm.
On the left, this looks like
Oh, the left. Yeah.
things that you've grown, like Lysianthus and the scented geranium and dahlias. This must have been later in the summer.
That was later last year. I think all of us have our favorite arrangement, the one that we made that we just think that's the greatest one I've ever done, and that's one of my more special ones to me. I really like that one. It was just for a bridal shower, not just, but it was for a bridal shower. But it's always been one of my favorites.
There's some more of the storefront. So I'm getting the vibe of the decorating the storefront. That's like pumpkins, a big heart and Valentine's palette. How often does
My
this
favorite
happen?
thing to do. I love doing that.
Yeah, where did you ever get this merchandising bug? I mean, when you were doing personal training, it was all interior, like
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
people
So I
came
would
in.
say when I was 14, I wanted to have a candy store. So I actually went to night school at the vocational school and learned how to make candy and cakes because I thought way back then entrepreneur. So entrepreneur has just always been with me. And so the design aspect of gearing into design came from a lot from my grandparents and my mom. My grandmother was a quilter and all very much into design, so I inherited a lot of stuff from them, from the two of them.
Yeah, but who goes to culinary school at 14 to learn how
I
to
don't
make candy?
Somebody weird.
Do you still do that?
No, no, no.
You mentioned your grandmother and your mom, and I did notice just now on your website that you've named some of your special Mother's Day arrangements after the special women in your life. Can you just talk a little bit about that? It's very sweet.
Yeah, so we have three arrangements this season. The Patty is named after my mom, and then the Lois and the Shirley are named after my grandparents on both my mom and my dad's side.
Oh,
And both,
that's
all
fun.
three of them are now deceased, but again, they played a huge role in my creativity and my love for others too.
What a wonderful way to honor them. I love that. And just tells a story. You shared this photo with me, and it's stunning, and I'm love to hear about the flowers that you incorporated into this gorgeous bouquet.
Well, first I have to say that is my new daughter-in-law. So I did my son and my daughter-in-law's wedding last fall, and
Oh my
that's
goodness.
yes. So that's the bouquet, a bride's bouquet that I did for her wedding, and it's dahlias and a greenery from the farm. All of it is stuff that we grew on the farm. Or it was very special to her.
What's her name?
Haley,
Oh,
Christian, my oldest son.
your oldest son.
Mhm.
Okay, so did you tell them they had to wait and get married until you had flowers for them?
Kind of. Because we did a lot of flowers for them. We did a lot of displays and arbors, and it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun, and it was very special for them and very special for me to, to have my flowers in their wedding.
Oh, for sure. And is this on your property where
No,
this
it's
photo
actually
was?
not. They ended up using an outdoor location somewhere else.
I love it. So, in terms of the wedding work you do, you said full service, and it sounds like you're doing personals plus ceremony plus reception, the arbors you mentioned. I mean, it sounds like it can go from a tiny micro wedding or elopement to something at that scale.
Right, exactly.
And how do you do that when you're running the retail shop? Do you have like a double staff or?
If it wasn't for my staff, I wouldn't be here. That's for sure. They're the greatest blessing to me at all of all.
That's
Um,
great.
I was a one person show for a long time, but it's not that way anymore. The last
Mhm.
year, I just can't do it all myself. So I have a great staff of people that have been friends, that have actually, stay at home moms, retired people that bring friends of mine that come in and help me when I need it for the big events and for deliveries and wherever I need them. And they're just the greatest thing.
I just love that. It's like that you're almost like an old-fashioned small town flower shop in that regard because you're so relational.
Very relational. But again, that was my mother. That was my grandmother, and that was personal training. That was a huge relational business.
Right, you have all these customers who
Mhm.
wanna see you succeed even though you're kind of not doing personal training anymore.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mhm.
Oh, well, it's gorgeous wedding.
Thank you.
I
She was beautiful.
yes, I agree. What a beautiful photo.
Mhm.
Let's see, and then you had shared this with me, this diamond design,
Mhm.
um, fall harvest meal and floral design experience set in the twilight of Little Petal Farm. So this is at your 1-acre farm that you held this.
Right. So I had a chef come in, a chef. He came in and made the meal in my kitchen, and then we had the meal out on the field. They were able then after the meal, it was a four-course meal. And then after the meal, they went out, they harvested, and we went over flower, designed the basics, and they got to make an arrangement to take home.
Mm, and this was first weekend in October, so the weather must have still been
Beautiful.
really beautiful.
It was beautiful.
How many people did you have?
I think we had about eight to 10.
So that scale is what works for you because it's
Mhm.
your
We wanted
you
it more of an intimate, thing, not a huge big thing the first year, just to kind of
yeah,
see how it went.
yeah. I are people already asking you if you're gonna schedule another one for this year?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I hope you do.
It was fun.
Let's see. We also I'm assuming this was during one of those tours or dine and design experiences with your visit people that want to visit your farm.
Hmm. That's a U pick. So we have U picks in the fall. My goal was to do it in the spring this year, but we just sell too. It's just there isn't anything. So
You're too busy.
too busy, and it's just out the door. What we harvest is gone. So back in the fall, I'm hoping again to get back into U picks. People really enjoyed those last year, and I enjoyed doing them because not only did they come in, I walked around, talked about things, answered questions. It was a lot of communication with the community, and I enjoyed that.
I meant to ask you a couple pricing questions, so maybe I'll just pause here. How do you charge for the U pick, and is it profitable for you?
Yes, I would say yeah, it is. So I think we charge $30 a person, and
Okay.
they with their own bucket and their own pruners. I kind of did a quick self guide or a guide for them, and then kind of let them off on their own. But I'm always walking around on the property answering questions and just kind of interacting with them too.
That's a great price. I mean, I suppose it's based on your market and what your market will bear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but people, do they feel like then they can go home and make several arrangements with those flowers?
Yes. So we say, I think I said last year, 20 stem limit was what it was, but I don't count stems.
Yeah.
I'm just, and whatever bucket they bring in is what they bring in. Nobody's ever taken advantage of that.
No, I love it. I
I
love
love
it. And then on the dinner, how did you charge for the dinner?
it. And it was a bigger, higher price point because, of
Sure.
course, Jeff wanted to get his end of it, and I need to get my end on it. So that was a much bigger price point on that because of that.
Yeah, but people are getting a farm to table meal and uh, they didn't do you pick, but they got to make an arrangement, right?
No, no, no. They did you pick two.
Oh,
They had
wow.
to do a pick and also make the arrangement. So it
Yeah.
was a good 2.5 hour ordeal, I think.
Yeah.
Or
Well, yeah. Well, I've heard of, those sorts of events in maybe more urban markets, costing close to $300. So I'm sure you were under that and you probably need to charge more, but it's
I
part of.
think we were like 225, something
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
Well,
Probably
that's good. I mean,
high.
all of these things are kind of, they fill this general bucket of marketing and community building a community, right?
And I think it's all about that experience.
Yeah.
Everybody loves that experience doing something different.
Right. And then those people are loyal, future customers as well.
Mm-hmm. I've even had one customer now start her own flower farm.
Really? Is she trying to sell to you?
She hadn't yet. She should, but she hadn't yet. But I just saw it the other day. I thought, well, good for her. So.
So the photos that you are here maybe are not exactly from the same event, but you've got your flower bar set up on the left. Where is that from, a special event, or is that in
Yeah,
your
that
shop?
was for our bridal shower. So we came in, set up the vases and the flowers and all that type of thing. But that was just where they came up. Oh yeah, and they went back to their table and they did their own arrangement. We didn't do any type of just
Instruction.
instruction. Thank you very much. We didn't do any
The
type of instruction.
the little bud vases are adorable though, and the way you have it set up so that it's sort of like everybody's was probably very unique and not similar at all between the guests at the party.
Yeah.
I love that. And then on the right, is that from another dinner?
So that is actually my picture of kind of what got me all started, my first event. And that was for a picnic out at the park for my mom for Mother's Day with my family. So this was back in 2017. So I did this whole long table, as you see, with all the flowers from my yard. It's the first thing I ever did. And that was kind of my inspiration started there. And I thought, maybe I could do this as a business down the road, and just kind of played with it. And before I knew it, I just started doing it.
Oh, I love that photo, and I think it really speaks to the garden inspiration, because you've got lilacs and bearded irises and ferns. Like, these are garden plants that you've probably grown for years, and you saw the potential for using them in design.
Mm-hmm, exactly. My
Oh,
mom loved it, so that was very special to me. My
huh.
sister thought I went way overboard.
Well, you know what? She can do her own dinner.
They were like, "Of course you'd have to show off with a big."
The flowers showed off. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
This is our last slide. What is the structure on the left with the fresh cut flower sign? Is that at the farm?
Yes, so that's the back end of a playhouse that I had built for I have 4 children that are now adults. So that's a playhouse I had built for them to play in that now acts as a studio on the urban farm. So, sometimes I'll design in there. We might have little classes in there. So there's a front porch on the front end of it, and it's on the property, yeah.
Well, being a vintage tool geek myself, I absolutely loved how you have all these old farm tools and gardening tools, like the spade and the fork and the clippers, all mounted on that side of the structure. So it just
I
made me happy to see that. Like, oh, what a great idea!
Okay, but I do have to say I stole that idea on Schitt's Creek. There's a barn in one scene of that show, and they had done that all on the side of a barn. It was a goat farm.
Oh, that's so funny.
I didn't but
I've watched every episode of that show, so I need to go back and find that one.
that's what gave me the idea.
I have all my vintage flower frogs hung on either side of my kitchen window by my sink because they're so small and you can just put a small nail in. My husband doesn't get it at all. And then
that's so cute.
Yeah, I feel vindicated because Christina Stemble from Farm Girl Flowers, who is an Indiana native, by the way, was over at our house. She lives in the Seattle area now, and she's like, "Oh my God, that's so cute!" And I just looked at Bruce like, okay, I've got the Farm Girl, stamp of approval here.
There you go.
It's okay. It's okay to hang tools. I'm gonna show him this photo. And your flower card on the right is also a special, beautiful vintage element. How do you use this, and what was this from?
So I actually found that on Facebook Marketplace, probably
Of course.
3 years ago, and I got the thing for $100 from some lady. She didn't know what she had. It was my lucky day. But we use that at events. We'll use it at the Peony Festival next weekend. I stick it out front of the boutique. Right now, it's out in the front of the boutique with a big display for the Peony Festival coming up. But it usually stays out there a lot during the summer. We've tried to sell flowers out of it, but you kind of get into that. It gets too hot and they don't last too long. So anyways, I love it. It's one of my favorite things.
It looks like something that's great for events, but you're right. In Indiana, the summers are so hot and humid, you probably wouldn't want to subject your flowers to being outdoors all day in that.
We've done it this spring and the fall and outside, and people have purchased from them, and that's worked out okay.
I love it. Really fun. Well, thanks for showing those photos or sharing the photos. Okay, so you've got the local Peony Festival coming up. Can you describe what that is and what it means to Noblesville and also to Little Petal Farm?
It's a huge thing. I want to say this is second or third or fourth year. I think it's third year. So a lady here in town started it, and it has been huge. So it's here in town. Like you said, peonies are a national flower. So we have people from all over the state. Now it's from lots of states come in. It's a lot of vendors of only peony things, like peony food or food products with peony in it, peony lemonade, that type of thing. Artists that do peony paintings, all that kind of thing. And all of us then farmers that grow peonies, selling them from our booths as well.
Wow. Is it at a park or where is it held?
That's in downtown park of our town. It has gotten so big, it's unbelievable. The event always lasts 6 hours. Last year, in an hour and a half, we sold 350 bouquets.
Oh my
So
goodness.
we are usually sold out within a couple of hours. So every year I triple what we take, trying to get to that 4 o'clock time, that 6 hour time. And we haven't gotten close, but that's the goal this year, is to kind of, because it's kind of like you have to get there really early, and then the people that come late don't get anything because it's all gone. So this year I'm trying to get it so that people can also have product.
Are you able to like run back to the shop and restock, or is it close enough?
Yes, it's just a couple of blocks, but the traffic is so bad you can't.
Yeah.
You can't move. We'd have to. In fact, we did last year. I had people that walked.
You'll have to push your little flower cart.
Yeah, that's how that got there. In fact, we pushed it down the street early in the morning to get it down to the venue. Yes.
That's amazing. Well, where do you think these people all came from? There wasn't a peony festival before that. They had
I think so.
Pent up demand.
Because people are crazy for a peony.
Yeah.
They are just. I mean, it's the first year. Some peonies I thought these aren't sellable. They were bad. They got brown or something. I'd throw them on the ground, and people would come by and pick them up.
Wow.
They just wanted a peony. They didn't care what the peony looked like. It's amazing. It's a really nice event. It's very well put together, very well managed, and Kelly does a super job with it.
Are you thinking about ever digging and dividing and propagating your peony roots and selling bare roots, or is that just not the category that you want to get into?
No, I don't. I don't think so.
I just want to finish that thought though about the growing of peonies. I'm sure that there are vendors who are selling peony plants, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In fact, the festival is the only people that I don't want to say, they're the only people that are allowed to sell peony root and peony plants. They want that. That's how they make their money to put back into the event.
Oh,
So
the festival, the
the
producers.
is the only vendor there that sells. But yes, they do. It's their fundraiser then to get back to their event. So then the night before they have like a peony black tie event where people come in and there's a bunch of chefs and they do food and they can walk around and see the vendors. It's a very nice event the night before too.
Oh my gosh. So that is coming up right after Mother's Day then, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
Next, I would say that's the 18th.
How do you keep the store open when you're doing these events, or do you close the store at that?
Last year we had, in the past 2 years, we've only done the event. We
Yeah.
haven't had my store open, but the stores downtown last year were huge, open. So now this year I'm keeping the store open, selling peony products as well as some peony products at the venue.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully that pays for the labor and then some.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a lot of labor.
Tammy, look what's happened to your life in the last 4 years. You must just sit and reflect on this radical change.
Reflect. Yeah. Yes, I
Or
do.
maybe when it's quiet and like after a holiday when you can recover and just sit and think, what did we just do?
Yeah. So winter is my downtime. I got a short amount of time. January, that tends to be when I'm gone for that time until Valentine's Day. But I actually was so lucky to just come back from going over to Holland and seeing the tulips on a riverboat cruise. I was really good about that. I had people that covered for me that did an awesome job, and I really appreciated them.
Well, I've done that tour, not on a riverboat, but in a tour van in Holland during tulip season, and it was it really influenced my ideas about designing with bulbs in the garden, and in containers. So I can't wait to see what you do. That's really neat. What else do you have cooking for this year? Anything that's maybe new or that you're adding, or are you just at the like pedaling as fast as you can?
I'm just pedaling to get past the peony festival.
Yeah.
I don't have anything planned. There will be something, I guarantee you, because I'm always trying to think of something different, something new to do. But it's just to get past the peony festival, and then I'll think of something.
Before I let you go, I just want to talk a little bit about the sentiment of customers and like what visceral desire for local flowers have you tapped with opening Little Petal Farm and then making it available through retail? I mean, what were people spending their money on when you didn't exist in the marketplace?
Yeah, I think also it's the small business aspect too. People love supporting small, at least in our community, people really like supporting small business. So that's a huge one. I think getting them in here to small business then gets them in here to realize that we grow our own flowers, because a lot of people don't realize that. I don't even think they get the just off the website or whatever. So, but then once they find that, once they walk in and I tell them that, they're like, oh, wow. So
Yeah.
then it's a big goal for us, most definitely, to know that it's fresh, it's going to last longer. It has the smell, and it brings so many memories of those older plants, people, the peonies, the forget-me-nots, all lily of the valley, all those flowers that we use that help people bring back memories with their grandparents and stuff.
Well, I mean, that's sort of the character of your farm too, because your inspiration were from your grandparents and your mother. So you're not going to neglect those romantic, nostalgic plants. That's part of who you are.
Exactly.
I love it. This has been so much fun. It makes me want to come visit. My mother's from Hammond, Indiana, which is farther north, but she's still alive, and I'm going to share this with her so she can tell me what. I mean, at some point, I'm sure she made her way to Noblesville, so I'll have to get that story. But I wish you a great Mother's Day weekend and a great peony festival, and we'll share links to all your social places so people can follow along. You'll be too busy to post, but maybe one of your employees will be posting during Peony Festival.
I have somebody now that does posting. I can't do that anymore. But thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh my gosh.
Podcast, I listen every week.
Oh my gosh. Well,
always learn something.
Thank you for that. I'm glad. Well, now you're going to be the advice giving your expertise to people. Tammy, is there anything I didn't ask you that you want to share or that I forgot to mention?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I don't want to say goodbye, but I'm going to end the podcast, and we'll see you in the show notes at slowflowerspodcast.com. Thanks a lot.
See you. Bye-bye.